Friends, I'm finally talking about my favorite carnivorous plants of all time, pings! Pinguicula, otherwise known as butterworts or pings, resemble succulents, but they actually catch gnats and other small bugs like a little sticky trap. They use teeny tiny little sticky hairs to trap prey, and the glands secrete enzymes and acids that essentially digest them. They put out the cutest flowers, and they multiply, so you can actually split them up, share with friends, and even propagate them from a single leaf. And because they're like the only carnivorous plant I can keep alive, their care is pretty easy. They like a good amount of light. Mine are actually on the top shelf of my cabinet, right under a grow light. I prefer their substrate to be constantly moist with distilled water, but I always use tap water. A lot of people actually grow theirs directly on porous rock to mimic their environment in the wild. Let me know if you have any pings or if you want me to talk about them more, because I will. I love my pingdom.
I'm gonna share with you the one secret that has given me the most success with my succulents. A lot of people struggle to know when it's time to water their succulents. So here's my little secret. I wait until I can see either wrinkling on the plant or until the plant's flesh becomes a little soft. The way that I check to see if this echeveria is telling me that it needs a drink, kind of like a taco, I try to see if I can bend it in a little bit. Just if it has a little bit of flex. If it's totally rigid, then I leave it alone. I know it's not time to give it a drink. On echeveria, it's important that you squeeze the sides of the leaves, because if you touch the tops of the leaves, the oil on your fingers will take off this powder that's on the leaves and it won't come back. And I got this ripsalis here. This is a great example of a succulent that will wrinkle when it's ready for a drink. You can see here on this stalk, it's actually got a little bit of a flower on the top, but the stalk is starting to wrinkle. And that's the secret. I basically look for wrinkling and softening. If you have any questions, leave a comment and make sure to follow for more plant tips.
Watch as I plant up a bowl of living stones. Lithops are a really fascinating succulent from southern Africa, and they're so thick and fleshy that they look like cute little plant butts. Or pebbles, I guess. I'm unpotting and dividing these, being very careful to not damage the fleshy plant or taproot. They're extremely prone to rot, so let them sit out for a few days to callus if you think the plants have any damage at all. Then I'm filling a shallow, wide clay pot with very coarse, gritty succulent soil and positioning each plant with just enough substrate around each to keep them upright. Very little of the fleshy portion is buried. I just want them standing upright on their own. I tap down the substrate gently to make sure they're well positioned before adding some pebbles between them. This both keeps them upright as well as gives a nice streaky aesthetic for this dish of living stones. I add gravel to fill the gaps and create a drainage zone around the fleshy part of the plants. Lithops are ridiculously drought tolerant and basically only want water twice a year at specific points of their growing cycle. I'll give them a little brush to get substrate out of their cracks and then put them in a warm, very bright spot. They won't get water until they start to look a bit shriveled this summer.
The person you are trying to call is currently busy. Busy in a world that needs no buffering.
Check this out, guys. When you're washing your organic food, especially if it's harvested from the garden like mine, you want to soak it in water that's had a pinch of salt added for 5 to 10 minutes. This will help to bring out any creepy crawlies and critters that might be hiding on the leaves. It might look a little bit gross, but it means minimal chemicals have been used on your food.
How I get rid of harmful bugs on my leaves. I've been using this method for years and it works 100% of the time. People usually don't believe me when I say 100% of the time, but trust me, this works 100% of the time. Oh! Here we are 10 days after the cut. I left it outside in a fully shaded area. And look at that, bug-free, just like I said.
Are you rooting a plant like this? Then put a golden pothos cutting in the same container as it. Golden pothos plants actually secrete excess hormones into the water for the other plant to absorb. This therefore causes the other plant to root faster. So why are you wasting money on rooting hormones? Get a golden pothos plant instead and keep on growing.
propagation station using this old takeaway container.
Start by making the styrofoam and filling the plastic with water. Pop the styrofoam on top of the plastic and push it down. Now make your cutting and put it in a hole. This keeps the leaves dry while the roots stay moist. Happy gardening!
So I've been having a really bad time lately, and I put a potato in a cup of water, and it helps.
3 months ago, I took this beautiful mango and some kitchen shears to cut it open and unveil the seed. I used the paper towel method so we could see whether or not this seed will sprout. I just placed it in a container and set it on the counter, and in a week, this happened. I planted it, and with some time, it has now turned into this.
I've been having the greatest week, so I almost lost it when I saw this. These are aphids, and I don't have aphids. They got in my house somehow, and they went straight to this co-location. As I started spraying it, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna waste my spray. It's in a self-watering planter planted in ponds, so I just decided to cut it down and soak it. You can't really see it well here, but I saw some larvae float to the top, which validated my decision to do this because I would have been spraying and spraying and spraying and not getting everything. Here it is 2 days later, and it's fine, but I think I'm done with the co-location ferals mask. I'm just tired of constantly fighting pests on it. So if I don't post an update, that means it's in the trash.
Up yesterday, you're gonna put the leaves over the water so that it hovers. The whole point is that the roots grow down because they're trying to get to the water. Hope that helps.
In case you've ever wondered what a newborn baby Venus flytrap looks like, here it is. They are the tiniest little things. They are super tiny, and they take months and months to grow from seed. And these teeny tiny traps are fully functional. They can trap, I've seen them trap fruit flies or fungus gnats, usually fruit flies. But occasionally I'll see these little teeny tiny traps catch something.